So let's start now. Okay, everyone is ready? Okay. Put everyone in mute first. Accept. Okay. So hello everyone. I'm glad to have you today. I hope everyone is well and in the best of health. Today our lecture will be presented by architect Soumia. It will be entitled Permaculture Between Utopia and Reality. It's somehow interesting. We are waiting for Soumia since a long time. So before starting, I want to ask from everyone to put his, let's say, microphone muted so that we can hear well the conversation. We will not interrupt architect Soumia. Anyone who have a question, he can post it on the chat or send it to us. He can raise the hand, and we will give him a speech once we finish the discussion. Okay, so let me first introduce our speaker for today, architect Soumia. She's an architect, Algerian, she's urbanist and permaculture designer and founder of the architecture studio since 2011. She leads some competition and projects around permaculture and urban agriculture in collaboration with different experts and institutions. From scale of territory, city, or neighborhood. Soumia believes that the most successful development strategy is to trust an existing readily available resources and to make the best out of it instead of getting dependent on external systems. She's convinced that the local resources like food, human know-how are the most solution of sustainable development of our society. About architecture, it's mainly focuses on innovative projects combining communities empowerment, ecology, and food security projects with the aim of strengthening cultural confidence to support local economies and foster ecological balance and more. So today we'll welcome again and thank you, Soumia, and the mic is yours.
Thank you for the architect app. Thank you for you, Slim, for the presentation. So I will be sharing my screen now.
Yes, please. Okay. Soumia, can you unmute yourself, please? Soumia? Yes, unmute yourself, please.
Okay.
Yes, now we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, in here I will be talking about permaculture project between utopia and reality. I will be sharing my own experience around the project I have done and around different climates I was living in, from the Mediterranean to the tropic to the dry climate here in Qatar. We will be going from the urban scale till the smallest scale and sharing around the process of permaculture and what permaculture brings to me as an architect. So next. Yeah, so here we have the two founders, the main founder of permaculture concept. We have Bill Morrison, who was more in the philosophy of the permaculture and the value. David Holman was also we will find that both they share the principle of permaculture, but David Holmgren was more on the practical side. And here we have the flower of permaculture. We will see by the project I will be presenting that this is a very important aspect, but because it shows how holistic is permaculture. Wherever we start with the building, with education, or with agriculture, we will be around these three main value, which is care for earth, care for people, fair and share. And we have here the 12 most known principles. And I mean, in our daily life, or even like we have like the zero waste concept or community project, or we can find in this 12, or the ethic we can have on very sustainable design and the way of living. So here we have the starting of the story. Why permaculture? So the question starts because of this model we were having on monoculture, using only some crops and with a lot of effort and fossil energy, instead of the model of the forest where there is no energy used, but there is more production and with less effort. So the founder was like, why we don't like create a system who work between the forest and bring this concept of nature. We consider nature as a teacher to show us with less effort how we can grow our food. And in that we can see all the side of permaculture, what can offer to us on the side of the ecosystem, the social system, the health system, and on the other side, in monoculture, all what we are doing to our environments. And that too shows that we have really to choose and make a choice in our lifestyle. In here, there is the aspect of community. Here is Ivan Illich studies. It's a very interesting one because it shows in same area, same space, how 60 people can, depending to their lifestyle, be living a space. Like here, we have the 16 car, or we can have a bus, and we can add more activities in this area. So it's bring more value to the place, or we can cycle, and that will bring more value to the space. And we will see why I'm talking about that. Even we can feel like it's not directly linked to permaculture, we will find why. And in here, so this is what make me react and why I choose to be involved only on the community project and permaculture project, only involved with the project who respect biodiversity. Here we have this modern building who kills millions of birds every year. And here, for example, we have 28 birds killed in one building because they are having a scratch on the glass. And we can imagine how this model is duplicated all over the world. And we can also, all as an architect, we didn't and never talk about biodiversity or health, or our that our architecture is very impacting our environment, our lifestyle, but other species also. And here we have also some small action. This is what I loved about the concept of permaculture, because even you can have this little power to bring and make change. Here with the concept of seed bomb, we are saving 1,000 of, and even we can talk about 1 million of native plants by only having this concept of making seed and making all the conditions to see for the seed to grow anywhere, and we have just to drop them on the street and let the plant grow. And here we have the picture of Fukukwa, who worked on his the founder of nature farming, the way of just let the crops grow by themselves, let the nature express itself, and we just have to harvest, and without destroying this already balanced ecosystem. So here we will have the first project in large scale territory and how we applied the permaculture principle. This was a project done with Mariam Alnet, the founder of Ordinary City and the Playtime Festival. And in that one, we were having this territory in France, the northwest of France, where we have more than 70% of agriculture based in only 3 crops. And this production, all the production is mainly directed to the international market. And in this territory, we have more and more older people, because the youngest doesn't want to invest, and there is no infrastructure for them to studies or even to start their life as younger. And in that, we were working on this linear territory versus the circular territory. We see on the linear, so this is the model of the urban city in French. In Europe, maybe is following the same. So we have this urban zone, very dense with the habitant, and we have the pavilion zone where we have families and old people, and we have this industrial area where we have this shopping mall and all the industry, and then we have this agriculture zone where we have like 1 or 2 person having 100 hectares working on only 1 or 2 crops. So we can imagine this kind of space. And we have then the protected zone, which is natural, and there is no human being living there, or very less. And then we have the circular territory. So in that one, we were just proposing to bring nature through agriculture to the city, and then create the exchange between the different areas where there is now no relationship, no exchange, and through the community, bringing community to more and more agricultural lands through the farm, the micro farm. So micro farms is farms around 2 hectares. So it's not that much huge, but then in 2 hectares, we have to know that 4 people can work on it. And also we can feed a considerable a number of families. And in that, we can create this synergy between the urban and the agricultural in a local point of view, in local economy point of view. And in the land, we can see this concept of farm station, 2 hectares farm station around between cities, and also link it to the activity in the territory, because we have some trekking path, we have also the cycling path, we have the industrial path. So these micro farms can come and just to bring a new way of living the territory, instead of having only this huge agriculture with no local value bringing. And then the next project is the Edible Museum. So this is in Paris. So that project, What's Up Paris? So they asked in this project how we can resolve the problem of being on the screen. So we all have this little screen, and how the young generation could communicate through different projects. So in that same, we were bringing this urban agriculture. So facing the emblem of industry, which is La Tour Eiffel, is a vertical one and is here permanent. So we have this agricultural project, the urban agriculture, which is made from recycled material and which is horizontal. He's following the season and is like a museum. When you buy your ticket, go harvest, learn from local knowledge and then eat your meal, but your phone have to be off and exchange. So we can see this pedagogic garden, we can see it through the season, we can see families dropping their kids and sharing a moment in this place. And this was also linked to the, here we were having, like in some decade ago, a farm worker, which is an industrial concept, a very known one. So, and then we will go here, which is the ecotourism project linked to the horse passion, is a hippo farm project. So this is one of my favorite one. And in that same, we were working on what we can do in a real project to see the potential of the area, see what the farm around are doing, and in what we can share and exchange, in what this farm could also bring value to the existing farms. And we were making research around visiting the farms and also seeing the local research on the land itself. And in that, it was like we were having this existing building, so with no programs or whatever, and we decide to, why not use already the existing project as an eco-lodge to host the clients coming to visit the site. And in that same, we are working with the local resources on the land. So we were having this community project, bringing students and sharing around, even sharing around regenerating the land and farming, making some permaculture technique all together, which was a very fun experience. It was it's a really slow architecture because there is a process there. I was on the same time making a research and adjusting the recipe to feed the tropical climate. And I'm very thankful because I was lucky having also a client who trusts the process and also who accept going under my expectation around sustainability. So we have here a dry toilet, we have recycled gray water, and more. It's bioclimatic architecture. And yeah, we can see the freshness and all when we work with nature, how we can also use the microclimate concept and how we can also make advantage from what is already here. So the project have also, the program is very important in permaculture. Then we bring this kind of different income. So the clients were aware and having this variety of program around horses, restaurant, and now we have, they have also extend the hotels to welcome more and more people. And in that project, I wasn't the designer, I was the consumer. So it's in the middle of very dense cities, which is Ho Chi Minh. We were having this family garden, we call it. And this is a very interesting project. Even he didn't start it as a permaculture, but he was really feeding the principle by having this diversity on the program, and by having also around the materials used, also around the community. So the project where I was having my office here, so it was very interesting to just work and then go and walk and see this crops growing. So beautiful place. And I was sharing actually my office with friends, T3. So here we have also, so here was the office, and we have also this student coming and visiting the family garden, and harvesting and having all this kind of planting seeds and all these kind of activities. Then here we are in Qatar, in different climate, but even in here, I find it very interesting to go through, okay, what's about the local resources and what's about the resilience? Even in the dry climate, I was, first I like, as architect urbanist, to really take my time to see and understand the city urbanism, and in what we have some principle, we can find them like in different areas. And here it was a studies we made around Barwa city to see like, okay, cities oriented car versus cities oriented biodiversity. And here was some discoveries. I was very, every time when I was seeing green, I just stopped and goes and asked, and the people are so welcoming. And this guy actually, he created like a very interesting concept, like just in the urban areas near his house. So he get the authorization from the municipality, and he grows his own food and is open to public. So when I arrived, I just find these tomatoes and some crops. So he's welcoming you to take whatever you want and to enjoy the seed. And even he make us visiting his neighborhood, who were also inspired by his concept. And you have flowers and green and like a lot of interesting plants around. Then I find this amazing community who are growing their own food. Mostly they are growing like more than 80% from their food. And they are very knowledgeable. They have like a concept of seeds and very interesting way of composting and growing the soil. And I was sharing around, and I learned a lot from them. Actually, yes, so we can see over the season what is interesting with the gardener who are already like having experience, and most of them, they have like 15 to 20 experience gardening here in Doha. So they knows when is very dry and hot, which kind of thing we can do to improve our gardening on the coming season. And when it's the season of gardening, what we have to do and all the steps we prepared. And usually it's only one woman doing this for 500 square meters, and she's doing it for her family to eat fresh food. And yeah, they are very happy to share their knowledge. And we were also testing very, very tasty crops. And they even have this kind of advice, like don't, for example, no need to grow these crops because it needs a lot of maintenance and waters. Do these crops is better. I try it for 5 years and now I improve it. And this kind of knowledge, you know, who is very valuable and who costs, for me, is a treasure of knowledge, because it's make a paradise, but from nothing. I mean, they are very aware about water, they are very aware about waste, they are very aware, and each part from the garden, they have techniques and very specific way of doing to grow food, and also enhance the biodiversity who will support the garden itself. Then here is another garden with more crops, with the terrace garden. Same with Jisha, I learned a lot. She's very knowledgeable. She's having a lot of experience around seeds. She's like, yeah, very involved every year. I visit, like, this is my 3rd year here in Qatar, and every year I learned from her. She's like improving herself more and more. Even she's gardening for more than 15 years now here in Doha. So here we have an idea of which kind of crops, which kind of harvesting we can have from October till May. And now we have a lot of surprise. Like this year we garden till June. So I was happy having some foods until the end of May. And here is a small experience I made with my little boy when we got this COVID confinement. So we were like growing the garden and composting, but I was letting him more doing. And then we wrote a little story around, and it was so funny because we were having lizards and some insects and a lot of birds coming to the garden, and we had a lot of fun in that experience. And it was like also showing how it's important for the kids to link with nature when they are younger, so then we know what we are protecting. Otherwise, if we don't know what we are protecting, it will stay a concept, and it's just, okay, it's climate change, okay, let's do climate change and just put words on that. But when they are experimenting, when they know the impact and the change they can make, so for sure the result is not same, and for sure even the speech and even the feeling they have is not the same. And in that, I'm also very thankful for all the sustainable artist community, because that's a bring also from the garden arts, and I was like improving a lot of areas in my works, and I initiated this sustainable art exhibition with the Qatar Green Building last year, and we have the 2nd session for this year, and it's around different know-how and handmade and landscaper, architect, scientists, all bring it together in one exhibition, and just to higher awareness and just to create this contact and sharing, and to improve our way of living and our understanding of sustainability. Because usually as an expert, we just think that everybody and everyone knows the actual situation, which is not true. There is a lot of people who have other priorities, or maybe they have other definitions. So it's interesting, we find very interesting to share and bring people together, or sharing around. Art is easy to have an interest on it, instead of big project. Usually it's or a very formal way of learning kids or inform people. So art is a funny way, and it's open up to see things differently. And to end, sorry, I will tell this just to have some reaction from you, men. So women are the holder of all knowledge and everything a man knows he stole from a woman. It's Bill Morrison who tell that. And this is just because why I had chosen a name like 10 years ago as architecture, because I find as a feminine needs, like if we would put more women in gardening and more women on architectures, I'm talking more about women value, like caring, like sustainability, and like, so this will for sure bring more value for the futures. Thank you. Finished.
Thank you, Soumia. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for the talk. I see many people are interacting. I'll start with Marcela. She have another question. Marcela, can you come in? Marcela? Or anyone who wants to interact with Soumia?
Hi, Soumia. First of all, thank you so much for the presentation. It's something that I've been working on, and I'm kind of suggested it as well in my undergrad. I go to VCU in interior design. So I suggested a lot of urban greenery as part of my assignment, but I didn't know how to implement them. So lately I've been working on hydroponics in my backyard. What do you think of that solution instead of just using soil? Because for me as a full-time student, I don't have time to, I love gardening, but I don't have time to maintain it. So I just felt like hydroponics is the next best solution for busy people like me.
Okay.
What do you think?
So I would just give and share my point of view as lazy gardener. So don't worry, I'm not the harder worker on the garden. So for me, hydroponic, okay, is a technique, but it doesn't improve on the long term. I mean, okay, you will maybe have your food.
Yeah, it's for production.
I really believe on this soil and the growing soil. I mean, in here in Qatar have more than big suns, because it's with all this food coming to Qatar, we can really compost and build this soil. I mean, there is a need to build it, but this is a step. But I agree that here there is a lot of people who made the choice of starting with hydroponic, but the missed part is working on this really like from the roots, you know, is building your soil, having all these worms and species under, and then the nutriment, and then it's, and I find it more easy because you don't need energy. I mean, you don't need electricity or whatever, and you don't need to feed if you already prepared your soil with the compost, and if already your soil is good, I mean, you will really don't need to maintain your crops. With having just 2 or 3 technique and knowing how to mix your crops, it will really don't need, even on watering, you can water 1 time a week. This is what I'm doing. I mean,
I agree where you're coming from. You're trying to create an ecosystem. Actually, it's not just producing food, but you're also creating a system where the circular system feeds itself. You get what I'm saying? With some occasional watering here and there. Yeah, I mean, when I have time, I'll do that for sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, I have a question. It's Maureen.
Yes, Maureen.
Hi, Soumia. Thank you. I love all your work, and I'm glad to learn more. I have a quick question. I saw your plan in France, in the north of France, and
Yes.
I'm just curious. Had that been implemented, or what was the experience socializing that type of plan with the inhabitants? Like, if it didn't get implemented, maybe what was the feedback from the people? Because it seems like it fits also with a lot of younger people wanting a new lifestyle, and so I just wanted to hear what from
Yeah.
your design? How was it received, and was it done? And just if you could talk a little bit more about that.
So so I'm glad because you are architect, Maureen. So I can. So you know the scale of urbanism is the most slow scales. Actually, the feedback we got is they loved the idea of the farm station. But the thing they find it very hard is the analyze. We were very negative. So this was the feedback we got from them. But I think it was on 2015. And in that, they were having like a sharing project with the public. So it was, yeah, we didn't win this competition. It was a competition. So we didn't win it, but we got this feedback. And I mean, like now the concept of farm station, we can find it more and more. I mean, the micro farm is more people are taking like only 2 hectares or 1 hectares or no going under 4 hectares because it's huge and it's need a lot of maintenance. And I think we will see more and more farms like this growing and like a network and making a network and sharing around as the ecotourism also is growing.
Yeah, maybe you were just a few years too ahead of your time in that regard, right? You said it was from 2015?
Yes.
Yeah, so maybe now, you know, there'd be more reception. Yeah, that's awesome.
For sure.
Yes, so Maya.
Yes.
Tell me, please, as I can have, maybe it's my definition from the permaculture. It's it's the concept that consists aims to create, like say, an ecosystem which is a bit different than the global one. Yes, this let's say modification to the actual ecosystem, can it, as you present now, have many benefits from, but for sure it have an influence on the global one. Am I right?
Yes.
Can you just give us a hint, or okay, you give us the good side of it, and I know you are defending that.
Yeah, in my point of view, when you start from local scale, it's make you working with the existing. I mean, even you are more resilient. Whatever crisis came, like climate change, economic crisis, you have already the resources here, and you have already the community here. So it's less stressful for us. And I think that the global, okay, it's bring us to this awareness of our planet Earth as human beings, species living on this planet. But it cannot continue to be like food cannot travel that much every time. And we see like we had this COVID who really shows like a lot of countries now we will be more focused on how I can grow my food locally. Or even Qatar, the experience we got on 2070, where, okay, we start growing food here and we start having more crops and product and dairy product. And I think more and more we will go through the local, but the global still, but on different level. Maybe we see here with internet, we can all interact together and sharing knowledge. But yes, the local have to now find his right place and being the priority instead of being like it was.
Depending on others. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Who else want to share? I'm trying to find it. We have our friend Bilal, who is saying, if is government more involved, and is it encouraging people more for permaculture? Does the government have any plan to encourage that?
You mean here in Qatar?
Yeah.
Or
I think here he just sent us a message.
yeah, I think that now, I mean, each one of us have like a little balcony or little piece of land. He's free to grow his food. So I mean, there is a community who is already involved, and the government. I mean, here in Qatar, we were having nursery who were giving trees and plants for free in a period. And yeah, I mean, they are implementing more and more the market, and I think there is support. Maybe is new is a little bit new, or maybe it's still in the community area, but for sure there is. We are hoping having more community gardens, more and more community gardens growing, and maybe it's the coming steps for here in Doha. We hope.
We hope so. Yes.
May I ask another question about Doha?
Yes, please.
Yes. So tell me what you think about managing your garden and water, and how, because yeah, I guess because all of the water is
Great, Maureen.
is
Yes.
processed, or I mean, how can we think about that?
Yeah,
Because that's also like a sustainability question. I mean, I don't know. I'm just curious. Yeah.
Your question is really right. For example, like we have like this group. We are more than 3,000 gardener, and we were having this question: what you are doing for the water? Because like, is it your garden increasing the consumption of water? And if the response is yes, that's mean your garden is not sustainable. Like for me, I'm using like some techniques. I have a need of 21 liters for my garden for water, and I'm watering it like trying to 5 to 7 days, every 5 to 7 days. And when the weather is so hot, I just don't water it, or one times a week to maintain just the crops who survived. And in that, like for example, I'm putting bottles of 1 liters in the toilet. I'm putting 2 bottles. That means I have 2 liters by flash. So, and try to use the water I have to clean my vegetable when I clean them. And also by composting, I have seen really that my soil stay wet. Even after a week, I can just put and the water still there. And I'm putting like some stone and some like coconut or wherever to maintain this humidity, using some technique also. But for sure, the water, we have really to consider that, to not increase our consumption, otherwise we are not sustainable.
Okay.
I don't know if it's
Oh no, that's perfect. I mean, it's more an impetus. Actually, I think that we could implement more gray water use, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, but in here, I mean, I'm in apartment. Maybe in houses, it's more easy to drop your water, whatever. I have some friends who are working on systems to bring water out. But for sure, we can go deeper on the process of reusing the waters here in Qatar, especially.
So let me ask. We have a question coming from Umayma. She have maybe a problem today with her mic. She's asking, what's the best way to start a home indoor garden, and how best keep the soil healthy without having to continue buying soil?
So for this to not buy soil, you have to compost. But even in composting, you have to mix. So you need to mix it till improve like your techniques, and maybe just add some compost on the top. No need to every time like used. Yeah. And for the indoor garden, there is some crops I'm using, but for sure the list can be improved. But personally, I'm using like I'm eating sweet tomatoes leaves, or the aromatic herbal are growing well. But it depends also of the light you have, the orientation of the, and it depends of yeah, how many light you have. This is the exposure to the light is very important, and your need, because usually like for example, I was just having the little challenge at home to harvest one salad a day from my garden, just to do it with my little son. And we were having this one salad a day mix of different leaves, and we were enjoying eating fresh food. But now with the indoor garden, so is it quite different, because it depends also of the space I have. I cannot like put a lot of pots. I need to have also my indoor space a little bit to other stuff. But I maintain like in my outside, I have some crops. Like for example, I was talking with Umayma about that. Like having porcelain, it's growing very well, it's very nutritive, very healthy, and it's grow very well here in Qatar, even under 45. It's still, I'm still eating it till now. We have Zataria, who is also aromatic plant, and also we can grow it, and it's grow so faster. And I'm sure that we can work on this kind of crops who grow even in a hot, I mean outside, and inside we maintain just a little of crop, or depending the person, if she wanted to have like 13 plants indoor and give the space to more plants, that's okay, if the lights allowed also.
Yes, yes. Jabir, can you introduce yourself? Jabir have a lot to say about plants indoor and outdoor. You wanna? Yes. If we, yes, but he don't wanna share with us photos from his garden. Jabir have a big garden outside and inside. And he, by the way, he's the one who influenced me. Now I have also some gardens, some plants here.
So you have to share, Jabir. That's important. I mean, all we are learning from each other.
Yes, yes. I love gardening. I love plants from my childhood. And here in Qatar, I have, alhamdulillah, I have a backyard. I am using like big garden with plants, with, yes, I try to maintain every day with watering, with, yes.
Great. And are you having an edible garden or mix, or only?
It's a plant, and sometimes I add like what we call this for food, this herb for food. Herbs.
Okay. Okay. Aromatic plants.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I was lucky. I visit his garden. I'm lucky. I visit his garden. He have many plants, many decorative ones, flowers.
Yes,
Personally, especially in Ramadan, I'm always going there to take my herbs fresh from here.
And actually, for the situation we are here, the garden is very like therapeutic.
Yes, yes.
Especially for the kids, because they are blocked inside. In the COVID, there no school, no going to mall. So the only way to spend time is going to the Jabir garden with the kids.
I also visited his garden.
Yeah.
Nice garden back
Bilal is here also.
Bilal, hi.
Yeah, hi,
Yes,
how are you?
yes, it's important to have plants in your life.
Yes.
Yes, for your mood, for your.
Exactly.
Yeah, and
Even
the problem, not all people like to know how to maintain the plants. I have many friends ask me how to maintain and give me plants, but after 1 week they call me, it's not perfect. It's not good.
Dies.
It's died. Yes.
Yeah, my wife, she has taken many plants from him,
Yes.
and every time she asks how to
Yes.
maintain.
Like Soumia said, there are techniques, and you have to learn how to maintain your plants, how to put water, not every day, not every time. Yes.
Exactly.
And also the temperature of the water, it should be warm water, not if the weather is cold, not put hot water like this.
Yes, 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 and sometimes people are losing the plants just because they are over maintaining them
Yes.
or over watering them, and most of the people who are talking about my plant is dying, it's because they are over maintaining them.
Yes.
But for sure, I don't think like gardening must take a lot of from our time. I mean, if we have this passion of a flower, there is some specific plants who need like this is an art. This is another level of gardening.
Yes.
But to have green or grow our own food, I find it like it took me like let's say half an hour a day, but really it took me less than this.
Yes, just to maybe to put water, to add, to give water
That
only.
some compost
Yes.
or whatever
Yes, compost, yes.
feeling you have.
Yes.
To
So Maya, if you can speak about garden terrace, like you know, architect Le Corbusier.
yes.
Yes, there is one principle. He has 5 principles.
Yep.
One of them it's garden terrace.
Terraces.
Yes.
What we call in French les toitures jardin.
Yes, toit terrace jardin.
Yes.
Yes, if you can speak about this, if we can make like here in Doha, if all buildings provide garden on the roof, maybe it helps on the reducing the temperature of the heat. Yes,
Yeah.
of the building.
Like vertical forests in Europe, some of the European
Yes.
countries now have
Or on the
vertical
elevation.
forests in the buildings. Yes, in the
Even on the
elevation.
elevation, we can use green screen or with plants.
Yeah, but I think that the climate have like I know one lady, I think she made it studies of if this kind of solution could be also sustainable for here in Qatar. I mean, if you work with maybe native plants or something like that, maybe, and even in that, there is no research yet done. But I know, like, I'm not expert on terrace garden. And I never tried to make one or even design one in my project, because I find like even when we talk about bioclimatic architecture, so there is low-tech way to refresh the air in the building instead of using the terrace garden. This is one. And the two, there is a cultural aspect. I mean, here terrace are used. I mean, people, they are using their terrace. Otherwise, when we have toiture. Yes. Yes, we don't need the plants, but usually on the culture they are sometimes sleeping on the rooftop or having used, I mean, of this space, which not the case in Europe, because they have this extreme cold. But I don't have like a response. This is a point of view, but to be honest, I didn't like made any research or having experience on that.
In Europe, they use this garden roof. I know because the land is too much expensive in cities, and people like to have garden on the roof because of this, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe it can be,
You mean accessible garden or
Accessible,
rooftop
yes,
garden?
accessible garden, yes,
Okay,
yes,
okay. Yes. And
Mm.
there is more and more.
Yes, in Europe, it's now like everywhere.
Yes, green Paris and green London
Yes,
and
I think in
yes.
Paris you need to.
Sorry.
There is a percentage that you need to plant, either in the. So they will count the surface that you the plant in the let's say in the land and in the roof. It's counted like a surface planted. How it's
Yeah.
regulated in Europe, which is
But I know that in Europe also you have to study the building structure and before
for sure,
starting. Yes, because
Yes.
even if it's there is a public access, so same. So there is some condition to make the
Regulation, yes.
rooftop.
Regulation,
Yes,
and
and even here in
waterproofing.
Qatar, some schools already tried to have a rooftop garden. I think it's the I visited one even the London
London
school.
International
Yes,
School.
and they have even small books. They made small books around this experience. If you want to go,
I saw many buildings here in Qatar with trees on the roof, with
yes,
big trees. Yes, there is one building on Cornish. I forgot the name. It's a black building. Maybe
yeah.
it's a bank. You can see trees on the top, on the roof.
So actually, I'm not very fan of putting trees on the rooftop because for me, trees need network and it's need network for other trees nearby. So this is the under network is very important because there is also biodiversity there. So putting the trees on the rooftop, I mean the rooftop if we green it to have our food or maybe, yes, to improve biodiversity, why not? But yeah, trees is need heavy soil. I think more than 1 meter deeper.
1 meter, yes.
Or, yeah, so it have some condition.
Soumia, I think Yala have something to add. Yala?
Yes, hi. Hi,
Yala.
Soumia. Thank you so much for the topic.
How are you, Diana?
I've heard of it. It's wonderful. I have a question. So if already we are going towards such an approach and a principle in our designs, and especially now after COVID, it's a very like holistic approach and it's very actually raw. So it's easily attainable in our households. I would like to ask how such resilient ecosystems could be achieved, and what are the principles or the basic requirements for us to have in our households in order to achieve such a very small scale project in our household. I mean, because it saves energy, it saves time, it's already sustainable and it's working on its own. So I'm curious to know how we can achieve that on a very small scale in our households.
Yeah, you mean having a garden on a small scale?
No, a small scale, like if you create your own small projects for you and your family, not even a garden, to achieve it as a small project.
Yeah. Okay, like the one I was showing, it was 15 square meters.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And we were having on that like 40 crops.
Yes.
And yeah, so
but
it was...
what are the basic requirements? So the seed bombs or the seed bombs that you talked about, because it's not easily, like, for example, if I want to achieve such a thing in Qatar or in such a climate, it's not easily achievable. So the requirements.
Yes. Okay, the easiest way I find like to do, because like of the situation. So we were just taking, for example, a list of crops, beetroot and having the sweet potatoes and eating leaves, not the roots. Eating the fresh salad, you have the how we call them, the plants, the young plants also. So this is easy if you want to eat. Yes, if you want to eat from your land, the easiest one like there is a list of crops. So you have the aromatic herbal, all work well, and it's easy to grow them here in Doha. I was talking about the Perslan, and you have like the sweet potatoes also. You can eat the leaves. It's very tasty, and the beetroot. And yeah, I mean, there is a list. I can give and share the list who doesn't need like that much maintenance, and it's just you take you can take it. I mean, you cut your carrot and then plant it. You can just take from your crops and replant. These replantable plants grow easy, and you have your own salad in 1 week. You can
so the so it's a basic planting system.
Yes.
It's just the way that you are actually implementing the process.
Yes, yes, and I mean, if
the type of crops, right?
If you grow from seeds, you will go like you have to wait maybe 1 month, or but if you want to harvest like the first,
yes, exactly,
just go through your kitchen crops, and some of them, I mean, we can find easily the list in internet. Some of them will grow very easy, and you can eat these leaves. And that's what make us like, we were having the first salad in 1 week. And it's, I mean, for self-confidence, if you are starting for self-confidence, this is what I recommend you. Just to start, and even you don't need like this higher compost, and this plant is grow easy, and it's give you like a first result, and you will see your garden green easily and faster than if you put your seed, then wait. The process is a little bit slower, and maybe the taste is better. I don't know, because what I find also is not all the crops who can grow. Sometimes you put beetroot, you will put 3 of them, 2 will grow, the other one no. So just you have to accept.
It's
also
a matter of experimenting.
Exactly. This is the secret, because you have to experiment by yourself. Even if you read 100 books, is by experimenting that you will learn, by experimenting. But to have confidence, start with this kind of crops who will give you direct result. And for example, you can harvest many times. I mean, you just take the leaves, and the other leaves will grow. You take leaves, and other leaves will grow. I'm eating from the sweet potatoes like 4 times, and it's still growing and growing, and every time. So we are happy having, and you will have
really
this
cool.
mix of different crops, different taste. So it's funny also for us to discover new taste, and
Isn't this popular?
yeah.
Now I have watermelon in my
That's really
garden.
cool.
Small.
Watermelon. Okay.
Yes, I try to put this small. And I have small plant now like this.
Yep.
I will wait maybe.
I never try it. Yes.
And just put this small, this what we call, put on the soil.
Seed.
Yes.
Seeds, yes. After 1 week, you will see the plant small like this.
Yeah.
Now I have one like this.
Exactly. But you will need like a deep. I mean, you are planting
soil.
on the ground directly, huh?
No. It's on the box. Yes.
Ah, on the boxes.
Box,
Okay.
Big box, yes.
Okay. Okay.
I will see what will happen. After.
Yeah. Give us your feedback.
Soumia, we have a question in the chat saying what type of plants to grow inside to help filter the air, like what types to put inside the bedroom that enhance the quality of the air.
Oh yes, there is a big myth on that. Okay, actually, the research I made is telling that the plant, to really purify, it must be higher 115 meters. And it's have a small surface. That means you must have a huge amount of plants to purify. I mean, yes, we have this all this list of plants, but there is also, if we want really to go deeper in this research, there is NASA research, but who shows that in the surface, to really clean your the hair of your apartment, you will need a lot of plants. But the biggest they are, the more efficient they are.
Okay, and another question before we close, because we still have 10 minutes.
Yep.
Where is it? Gone? What's the best practice to keep plants indoor alive? And because they noticed that sometimes the leaves develop a white fungus.
Yeah.
It's because of what?
What is funny, it's I'm not landscaper, so I always said, as a permaculture, I will share around my experience. So after to go when we are in the details, so I had to see, because like if I already faced the same problem, like for example, we have like this kind of recipe of just took your garlic and smash it, put water, and just simulate rain on your plant. And that, like all the plants we were talking about, like the purifying plants, will need sometimes this evaporation to stimulate rain, because they are mostly coming from the tropic. So sometimes we forget, we are only watering, and we forget that, okay, we have also to stimulate the leaves like this. But like for me, I'm using sometimes just the bananas waste, and I put it on water for 1 day or 2 days, and then use this water. And like using this kind of recipe to improve your plant nutriment, and more is the plant more is healthy, less you have this kind of disease.
One more thing, Soumia.
Yep.
When you want to buy plants, you have to ask if people don't know plants. Yani, he don't know which one indoor or outdoor. They have to ask in shop, I need this indoor. Maybe he will buy a plant for outdoor, and it will not grow normally inside. This is the mistake of people also.
But actually, all the plants are outdoor. You put it indoor because it's just you have the weather. But there is some plants who grow both. I mean,
yes, but
I don't know how we call them. They grow both indoor and outdoor. Mm-hmm. But we put it indoor just because there is the condition. It's like it's in a greenhouse, you know?
Yes. Mm.
But all plants originally they are from outdoor. So
yeah. So we'll take now the last question from Bilal. Bilal is asking, what are the indoor plants who can have an aroma inside who can give aroma inside the
no, sorry, I need a repellent aroma for keeping the beds outside the house. I heard that there are some plants which have special aromas, which this aroma is repellent for house beds, cockroach, these small insects. There are too many species of them, and these plants, they produce special aroma, and the birds run away. They don't come in the house. Yes.
Okay. It's not basil. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe
in Algeria we have plant. I cannot remember the name, but they said if you put on the window, the mosquito cannot come. Insects, many.
We call it حبق.
حبق.
Yes.
Yes. Which is the basilic.
Yes. That's why I was telling. I remember we were even putting this on the table. It was like on summer we have a lot and we put in each table and something like that. So it's
everywhere.
And even we use it like when we mix the crop, for example, to protect tomatoes or whatever. So we put like the basil to protect tomatoes from some insect. But maybe the plant you are talking about is very specific. So if you have the name, please share it. I will be happy to know it.
I don't remember right now, but I guess I read over the internet few weeks back, and I guess it is available. The flower color is purple, and it's available in Qatar also.
Okay.
I forgot the name. Yes.
Okay.
I didn't try it yet, but I think
Yeah.
You know, Soumia, I have in my garden I have small like butterfly, small.
Yes. Yeah.
He kill all my plants, eat everything.
Yes.
I don't know what is this, and I don't know how to.
Okay.
So,
What is the solution to? Yes.
You have to continue gardening. It will improve itself, and then the
you will find a solution.
you have to bring lizards and more other species
To eat this
predator,
insect.
yeah, who will solve the problem.
Yes. Yes, I think our time is over. Soumia, if you have something to add, please, can you wrap it?
Thank you so much. So for me, I'm happy to share and having all this community together around permaculture. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Soumia, for everything. Thanks to all the participants. We hope to see you again and again. Please remember that this Friday we have our first event with Diala, which is Entertainment Tonight. Follow us on our social media, on Instagram, Facebook. And thank you, everyone. Goodbye.
Thank you.